Dynasty versus Destiny. Ladies and gentlemen, it is officially game day. The 2023 NRL Grand Final is just 12 hours away from when this video will be going live. And I'll tell you what, I am absolutely frothing because I genuinely believe, and I'm not putting any Buzz Rothfield mayo on this, I genuinely believe that this could be the best grand final of all time. I have not been as excited for a grand final since 2013, which was also the last time Manly was in a grand final. So if you take Manly out of the equation, I think as a neutral with no Manly, this is the most excited I've been for a grand final of all time. And it's not just the players on the pitch, on the field. Jesus, I've been playing too much bloody EAFC. We all know the matchups, they're everywhere. Edwards versus Walsh, the best fullback from last year versus the best fullback from this year. Adam Reynolds and Nathan Cleary, two of the best halfbacks in the world going at it. The forward battle, Payne Haas, Tommy Flegler, Paddy Carey, Isaiah Yeo, Fisher Harris, the other. We've talked about that all week, and we could probably talk about it again today. But there is a story that people are running with, and I completely agree. Dynasty versus Destiny. The Penrith Panthers are going for an historic three-peat. The only reason the Parramatta Eels are still relevant, I'm sorry Eels fans, is because of that three-peat that they did in the 80s. Unless it's the Australian cricket team, three-peats just do not happen in competitions down here. Even over in America, England, they never happen anymore. Maybe in European soccer, which shout out to EAFC again, they might still happen, but as sport has become more professional, certainly in sports like we have in Australia where there are salary caps, this sort of domination just doesn't happen. The last time a team went to 4 straight grand finals with the salary cap cheating Melbourne Storm, and look, I think while a lot of people love to joke about this Penrith Panthers side, with them all being local juniors, probably most of them haven't even played 100 games yet, I doubt they're breaching the salary cap. In my opinion, not only is this already the best NRL dynasty we've ever seen in the NRL era, so post-1998, I think you could make the argument now that it's one of the best dynasties in Australian sport ever. And you know what? If they go on and they actually win tonight, if they beat the Brisbane Broncos and get 3 wins in a row, 3 premierships in a row in 4 straight grand finals, then I'd put them as easily the best rugby league team of all time. And you know what? If that happens, then that's definitely a story for another video. You've got the dynasty in the Penrith Panthers, arguably the game's best halfback at the moment. And look, on his track record, I know people hate hearing this, but in terms of a 25, 26-year-old, Nathan Cleary could retire tomorrow, and there is an argument he's an immortal. People hate that now, but if Nathan Cleary retires tomorrow, in 5 years we'll look back on his career already, and people will throw him up there in the immortal status. Maybe not quite there, but he'd be talked about in similar to a Cooper Cronk type of mold. Again though, a story for another time. There are so many storylines going into this game, and I've got no idea where this video is going. I just wanted to make it because it's going to be a cool title, and you guys deserve to have something before your 12-hour run on Channel 9 for the Rugby League Grand Final. So there, you've got your dynasty, the Penrith Panthers, going for the first three-peat since the 80s. Three-peats never happened in Australia. But on the other side, we got Destiny. Destiny. And what do I mean by Destiny? Well, I'm not entirely too sure, but I've got somewhat of an idea. 3 years ago, this time 3 years ago, they were there at Red Hill picking up wooden spoons. The most dominant NRL franchise since they came in the late 80s, early 90s. In their first 10 years in the competition, they won something ridiculous like 5 premierships. 3 years ago, the club with the most resources in the world, the most money at their disposal, the biggest talent pool at their disposal, the most third-party deals available, not just in the NRL, you could argue any sporting organisation in Australia. Maybe in Australia and New Zealand, the most dominant sporting organisation outside of maybe the international ones. And that club, with everything at their disposal, won a wooden spoon. And their fans, for as much as they're deep-throating the Broncos now, they turned on that crew very, very quickly. And you know who was in that team? Payne Haas, Tommy Flegler, Pat Carrigan. You know who were juniors at that club at the time? Reece Walsh, Ezra Mann, Selwyn Cobbo. And as I was pointing to earlier, all 6 of those players I just mentioned are going up against the best in the world, members of the best team in rugby league history potentially. And you know what? Reece Walsh versus Dylan Edwards, you can make the argument that it's certainly this year Walsh has been better, and on the grand final day, you could make the argument that Reece Walsh is very likely not just to get the better of Dylan Edwards, but to walk away with the Clive Churchill medal. Selwyn Cobbo versus Taruva, I know a lot of people who'd pick Cobbo in that matchup. You're Tony Staggs and Herbie Farnworth. Well, guess what? They were there when they won the spoon. Herbie Farnworth's going up against Isaac Tunga, one of the best young centres in the comp. I'd personally give the edge to Farnworth. Crichton Staggs, probably give the edge to Crichton, but it's easy to see Staggs besting him. Ezra Mam versus Jerome Luai. Mam right now is exactly what Luai was 3 years ago. That's an interesting battle. Then we get onto the forward one, which everyone is frothing about, including myself. Flegler, Haas, and Carrigan are about to go toe-to-toe with the most dominant forward pack. 12 months ago, we're talking about how Junior Barlow and RCG, if there was any forward pack that could go toe-to-toe with the Penrith Panthers in the grand final, it was those 3. And guess what? Now it's these 3. Every single one of those players I just mentioned were there, or at least somewhat there, on that faithful day when they got the wooden spoon. And 3 years later, they're in a grand final. The West Tigers 3 years ago were apparently on the up, and guess what? They've gotten even worse. The Dragons have gotten worse since 2020. So many teams have gotten worse since 2020, and I get it. The Broncos have all this at the disposal, but they've still done it. A year ago, Tyson Gamble, who was the starting 6 for the Broncos at the time, was bagging Kevy Walters, and now Kevy Walters, if they win, which is very possible in this grand final, could get $1 million bonus. And either way, there's no way the Broncos aren't going to re-sign Kevy when he's got, next year is his final year in his contract. They're definitely going to re-sign him. Because as much as these players, were probably always going to be superstars, they did win the spoon 3 years ago, and he's been the one to unlock their potential. He's taken Paddy Carrigan from dropping him of the captaincy to him winning the Wally Lewis medal, and at least in my opinion, being the best middle forward in the competition. Payne Haas was out the door 18 months ago. He got booed to death at Suncorp Stadium. Now he's just re-signed there. I know he's going to be the highest paid forward of all time, but with the cap going, like, telling me he's not worth it. He's just won 5 Dally M Player Awards in a row. Reece Walsh, people saw the potential, but no one knew he was going to come on this quickly. You could make the argument that going into next year is the best fullback in the competition, and this was a position that was the most stacked, even still is now. Turbo, Latrell, James Tedesco, Dylan Edwards, Kalen Ponga, Clinton Gutherson, all these guys. And if you had Reece Walsh as the best fullback going into next year, I couldn't argue with you at all. Selwyn Cobbo, if there's any winger who can match To'o, it's probably Cobbo. Herbie Farnworth's the best left centre in the competition at the moment. Tony Staggs, a few years ago, at his best, was playing Origin. Clubs of the size of the Brisbane Broncos, yes, the rough times are rough. I mean, Brisbane's 2020 spoon got more media attention, and they got more criticism than the Tigers have, and they've gone to spoon back-to-back years. But clubs of that magnitude, clubs of that size, guess what? They don't stay down for very long, and they're back at the big dance. Kurt Cable's going up against his old team, and Adam Reynolds gets a chance at redemption, because 2 years ago, if he kicks that conversion, he probably has 2 rings. But at the moment, he's got 1, and guess what? Maybe he has 2 with 2 different teams. But again, there are going to be so many videos coming at us because the storylines are endless. On one side, we could be seeing the greatest dynasty in rugby league history, in Australian sporting history. And on the other side, we could be seeing the emergence of a new dynasty, and we could be seeing the emergence, or at least the redemption arc, of the biggest sporting organisation in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy your 8 to 9 minute fix in the morning, because this grand final is going to be insane. Smash that like button, guys. Drop your final predictions in that comment section down below. Enjoy your New South Wales versus Queensland Cup. Enjoy your NRLW grand final, and enjoy this grand final. If I come back to you and it's a 13+ win to one of these teams, it's a bit of a stinker, then blame me. But I just can't see it happening, because I am absolutely frothing.